Joining us now is Cheryl Nelson, meteorologist and travel preparedness expert. Cheryl, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Kelly. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So as a meteorologist, can you walk us through what you're seeing right now on the radar and what's most concerning to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So Idalia it really hasn't strengthened much, but I think now as the center moves over the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, we are starting to see her grow a little bit in size. And I think this could be a potential sign of strengthening. A lot of the computer models have been talking about rapid intensification of Idalia. You got to keep in mind those waters in the Gulf of Mexico are very warm and they're deep. Temperatures are in the upper 80s right now. So there's a lot of available energy for this storm. And I think we will start to see Idalia intensifying as we go throughout the day today into tomorrow morning as well, just as Idalia gets closer to making landfall tomorrow morning.
So where are you expecting the storm to make landfall and how strong will it be in those locations?
Well, the computer models have really been in a good consensus together, saying it looks like the Big Bend region of Florida is where Idalia will likely make landfall sometime probably mid to late tomorrow morning in that part of the state. Now, the only good news is, unless you live there, is that it's not a very populated section of Florida, but regardless, it could be a major hurricane at landfall. So winds could be perhaps 120 miles an hour as it makes landfall into that portion of the state. And then eventually starts to move in and curve, as you can see there. So not only affecting that section of Florida, also moving up toward Jacksonville, Savannah, Georgia, and then the coast of South Carolina and North Carolina as well. And then it'll start to kind of curve around and not move a whole lot. The models really don't know where Idalia is going to go as we go out in time heading into this holiday weekend. So that's something we're going to have to watch as well.
Certainly. And there are also concerns, Xavier outlined them, about a storm surge. Can you explain that a bit more about what residents will be expecting?
Yeah, storm surge. This is the most deadly part of a hurricane. A lot of people think, okay, I'm going to focus on the category of the storm. I'm going to focus on the category. That's only the wind. The Saffir-Simpson scale only looks at the wind. The storm surge varies on a lot of different factors. How big is the storm? What's the angle of approach as it moves toward the coast and makes landfall? The wind direction. And so Tampa Bay, this is an area we have to be concerned about as well, because all of that water, as it goes up and around that storm, is going to push up into Tampa Bay. So even though Idalia will likely make landfall north of the Tampa Bay region, they could still have some significant storm surge flooding. And that's a reason you don't want to let your guard down in that part of the state either.
And, that's an area that's already seen some summer flooding. So what are your concerns there?
Yeah, exactly. And one good news is that part of the state has actually been in a rainfall deficit, believe it or not, so far this year. So the ground may be able to hold a little bit more moisture, but the problem is when the rain comes too much too fast, the ground can only soak up so much rain so quickly. So that could run off and cause some flooding issues. But again, I think the storm surge is going to be the #1 concern in that part of the state.
Got it. And we are watching video of residents filling sandbags there. What else should people be doing to prepare?
Definitely listen to your officials. If you are in zone A and you've been told to evacuate, please do so. You have a little bit of time left to do so. You don't need to drive hundreds of miles to evacuate. Just get to higher ground. Get somewhere where that storm surge is not going to impact you. Just go inland a little bit to do that. And fill up your car with gas. Make sure you have some backup power. Charge all your devices because we will likely see some power outages, especially as you get up into the Big Bend part of Florida, because that part of the state is so densely forested. So there's a lot of trees, and a lot of those trees may start to come down and cause power outages. Roads might be blocked as well. So you have to plan to be self-sufficient for at least 3 days, ideally up to 2 weeks. Fill those medications, get everything that you might need, and that way you can be safe. And don't forget your pets as well. Want to bring the animals inside and make sure they are with you. If you evacuate, take your pets with you. Pets are part of the family. And the Big Bend area has not seen a storm like this, a direct major hurricane landfall, since 1950, and that was Hurricane Idalia. So it's been a long time, over 70 years, since this part of the state has seen potentially a direct hit like this.
And even more important to have those warnings out there. Cheryl Nelson, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Stay safe.